when he tried to make a meal of a family pet.
The hapless scrub python has been nicknamed Terry Towling after his strange dinner habits. Terry took a liking to a family cat in Kuranda, tried to make a meal of it and ended up swallowing its beach towel bed instead.
They constrict first, and then what he would have done, because he has no hands obviously, is twisted the towel around and around, and they do that until they get it to such a stage where they can use their own body around it to push the prey down into their own mouth.
Tonight, Terry is recovering from the first ever operation to remove a towel from a snake's intestine. The towel was soaking up fluid inside Terry, dehydrating him to the brink of death. Besides causing a tummy ache, the big lump in his belly made moving awkward, but once he started eating, Terry couldn't stop.
Because snakes' teeth are all angled back, it would have found it almost impossible to regurgitate the towel due to the texture, and it basically would have ripped all the teeth out.
After enduring a tasteless meal and a 2-hour operation, Terry hasn't thrown in the towel. He's on the way to recovery. Wildlife Rescue warns it's snake season, so if a snake does find its way into your house, call them on 554 036. Julie Corner, Sunshine Television News.
Huge scrub python found while apparently gearing itself up for the beach.
Michelle Anderson specialises in snake removals, but she's never seen anything like the snake she was called to remove from Kuranda late Sunday night. This huge python, having just shed his skin and feeling hungry, decided to feast on a family cat. But instead of the Siamese, the 7-foot scrub python gorged itself on the cat's bed, a beach towel.
When snakes eat, because they don't have hands, they actually wrap their bodies around the item of prey that they're about to eat, and they use their bodies in that fashion to push the prey into their mouth.
The next day, Terry the toweling snake looked as though he regretted being a guts. Still visible in his stomach, last night's feed, the remains of which may have to be surgically removed. Ms Anderson says she's being called out more and more often to remove snakes, a trend she attributes to spring.
They're out, they've had their winter hibernation, they're hungry, they want to get rid of the old skin and they want to find fresh food and start breeding.
And if you have an unwanted snake in your house, ring Michelle on 550 445. As for Terry the snake, we'll keep you up to date on what happens to him and his indigestion. Colleen Daly, Win News.
And late this afternoon, the python underwent emergency surgery to remove the towel, and we'll bring you that story tomorrow night.
And from pandas that take the shirt off your back to a scrub python that eats beach towels. It happened in North Queensland. The snake was going for a sleeping cat, but swallowed its bed instead.
The cat sat on the mat, or rather this towel, when she turned in for the night before the arrival of the intruder, a 2-metre scrub python. The snake made a beeline for the feline, which promptly fled. By the time the owners arrived home to shoot this video, the python had a consuming passion for the towel.
It must have come extremely close to eating the cat. Snakes normally do not eat towels, it's just something they don't do, but it was covered with cat scent.
But the snake couldn't back out of its indigestible meal, the fangs preventing it from throwing in the towel. By morning, the snake had joined the Battle of the Bulge and was in need of professional help.
He just came out to get his first meal after the winter.
That unforgettable first course has the vets vexed.
To figure out which end we are going to get the towel out, if at all, or if we're going to let the snake work the problem out itself.
The perplexed python does, however, have a name. Terry, the toweling snake. Andrew Trewin, National 9 News.
Indigestion. Well, we're pleased to report the monster snake is today feeling a lot better after a delicate operation to remove his mistaken meal.
While most spent yesterday celebrating the Melbourne Cup, for Terry the python, the day was not one for rejoicing. The day of his big op had arrived. Marlin Coast vet Rob Gilbert had decided Terry's Monday night meal, a beach towel, just had to come out in order to pacify Terry's incurable indigestion.
I think it would have taken more than the Bex to fix him.
After opening the stomach, the red towel was clearly visible. The only thing to do, pull it out. This is the first towelectomy performed at Marlin Coast Vet Clinic. Hopefully the python will think twice before eating another one. And will the towel be Terry's last supper?
The chances of survival are normally fairly good, as long as there's no contamination from the stomach into the open body cavity.
Some may think snakes are not worth saving, but vet Rod Gilbert disagrees. He says non-venomous scrub pythons play an important role in keeping down mice, rats and other rodents.
It's part of the whole ecological chain. You start ruining one part of the chain and another part gets out of hand. So he's an important part to our whole environment.
The FNQ Wildlife Service regularly save animals. They also remove snakes from your home. But for this important voluntary service to continue, funding is needed.
Well, people can make donations to the FNQ Wildlife Rescue Group, or to the individual veterinarian that may be fixing the animal, or if they like to Marlon Coast Vet Surgery, and I can pass the donations on to FNQ Rescue Group.
And for the python who's been thrust into the limelight, hopefully he'll treat his newfound fame humbly. It'll take a while for Terry to recover, but while he won't be able to keep the beach towel in a jar beside his bed, he will have a great story to tell. Colleen Daly, Win News.